So what's up guys, I am Black Ops Amazing, welcome back to another video on the channel where today we are going to be looking at an insane conspiracy theory within Call of Duty Zombies. I've done about 7 or 8 videos as a part of this series already, so if you want to check out any of the other episodes, I put them all into a playlist so you guys can easily find them on the channel, but let's go ahead and take a look at some more. And just quickly before we continue, if you could please click that subscribe button if you haven't already. We are trying to hit 700,000 subs before Black Ops 6 comes out, which is in a couple of weeks. So if you're not subbed to the channel, I'd really appreciate it if you took 2 seconds just to click that button. That's all I ask. So anyway, today's conspiracy theory might be the most insane thing I've ever heard. I've never made my own video on this before. I never looked into it. I saw years and years ago a couple of people make videos on it, and more recently someone posted about it over on Twitter, which gave me this reminder. But this has to be one of the craziest things I've ever heard, not just to do with Call of Duty lore, but anything, and that is Takeo was assaulted by a giant spider. Now the first and one of the only videos I've ever seen someone make about this was from the Gaming Revolution years and years ago. I never watched it because, well, when you see a title like that, you think, surely not. But for this video to see where this information comes from, I did. And apparently it is a part of Lovecraftian lore. Now, if you know anything about the storyline that we were told in Black Ops 3 Zombies, a lot of what we see in that game from the Keepers and especially the Apothecans and all of the creatures that revolve around them are heavily inspired by H.P. Lovecraft's work. If you compare the look of some of our Apothecans to the creatures in some of his books, you can clearly see Treyarch took inspiration from that universe. But when it comes to the spiders and the lore Treyarch took for them, well, this is interesting. So the spiders we see in Zetsubo seem to be based off the Lang spiders in H.P. Lovecraft's books. And by the way, I know absolutely nothing about the Cthulhu mythos. I'm completely oblivious to that universe. I know nothing about it. So everything I'm reading is based off research I've done and information I can find online and what other people are saying who are familiar with it. But the spiders of Lang are purple coloured arachnid creatures that appear somewhat similar to terrestrial spiders, yet on a much larger scale. They vary in size, but these smaller spiders are the size of a Shetland pony, and the larger specimens would tower over an elephant. They possess a degree of intelligence far higher than that of a regular animal, but are not above the cannibalization of other Lang spiders. And whilst they're capable of spinning webs to disable their victims, they also possess a venomous bite of great potency and have the ability to climb sheer surfaces, much like their counterparts within the walking world. In terms of their history, long ago the spiders controlled the entire plateau of Lang in the Earth's dreamland. That was until their defeat after a long war with the men of Lang, who forced the spiders to abandon their homeland and return back to the southern mountains. And that is where they dwell to this day, ready to prey on any creature foolish or unwary enough to stray into their territory. I just mentioned there, they once controlled the entire plateau of Lang in the Earth's dreamland. No one knows the precise location of Lang, but it's described as a place where different realities converge, which might explain why no one knows where it is. But when I look at pictures of it and drawings, it very much reminds me of the Dark Ether or even Argotha. So this place was once controlled by the Lang spiders. You should also know that their venom is extremely dangerous and can cause flesh to blister and rot away, and the mind to experience vivid and horrific hallucinations. And the visions that you get from the poison cause you to react in an unpredictable manner, as if to be confused. And another spider creature that exists within the Lovecraftian universe is Atlach Nacha. I've probably pronounced that wrong, also known as the Spider God or the Spinner of Darkness. But Atlach resembles a giant spider with a anthropomorphic face. That's a new one for me, capable of some human expression. But Atlach Nacha's web is the bridge between the Dreamlands and the walking world. It is believed that when the web is complete, the end of the world will come. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because, one, the spiders of Lang are thought to be the children of Atlach Nacha or Naka, however you say this thing's name, and it is also a great old one of the elder gods, the god of the spiders. So if we bring that knowledge over to Black Ops 3 Zombies, in the caves underneath the island of Pompeii, we have the giant mother spider, which in Lovecraft lore would be Atlach, and the smaller spiders would be its offspring, the spiders of Lang. You do have to bear in mind that Treyarch only took inspiration from Lovecraft. In reality, or the game's reality, the spiders are experiments from Division 9. We know this from the Coroni, where it specifically stated on February 6, 1943, Division 9 expands experimentation to include use of prisoners of war, Division 9 staff, arachnids, and mythical beasts. The mythical beasts is of course the dragons, the arachnids, the spiders, so we do know Division 9 experimented on them. To be fair, that doesn't specifically state that these smaller ones, even though they're still huge, were created by Division 9. They could have just captured them and used them in their experiments to help create wonder weapons such as the KT-4. So these giant spiders could have existed before Division 9's experimentation. That's more than possible, and if that's the case, where did they come from? How did they end up getting this big? So far, all of that seems pretty normal for a Call of Duty Zombies storyline video, but the reason it's in this one specifically is because of the theory that Takeo was assaulted, that's the only word I can use, otherwise this video will get demonetized, but you know what I mean, by this giant spider. Let's just say Takeo and the spider got intimate, and the two of them created the smaller spiders. Like I said, the only person I've really seen make a video on this is the Gaming Revolution. There was this post from COD Lawfax, which said, reminder, Ultimus Takeo was canonically by a spider. And I also checked out this post over on Reddit, where somebody else was bringing this topic up. But just like me, they were confused because having scoured the internet, gone through multiple pages of Google, looked through all of the wikis, and having read comments from people who seem to know what they're talking about when it comes to HP Lovecraft stuff, I can't seem to find one bit of information about this. Just as this person on Reddit said, I'm planning to make a video on the spiders on the Call of Duty Zombies map sets of Enoshima, and I've discovered during my research that they're apparently heavily based off the Leng spiders from the Cthulhu mythos. Now, I've heard several people on videos talk about the apparent fact that the Leng spiders actually got to the point where they could not reproduce, and that females could only reproduce by mating forcefully with human males. Now, despite seeing multiple videos talking about this, I've not been able to find any actual written recordings of this on Lovecraft Wiki or anywhere else on the internet. And this person got a couple of replies, one of which said back, Lovecraft himself wrote almost nothing about the spiders of Leng. It all boils down to a single sentence in Dream Quest of Unknown Kareth. Through those archaic frescoes, Lengs and all stalked, and the horned, hooved and wide-mouthed, almost human danced evilly amidst forgotten cities. There were scenes of old wars, wherein Lengs, almost humans, fought with the bloated purple spiders of the neighbouring vales, and there were scenes also of the coming of the black galleys of the moon, and the submission of Leng's people to the polypus and amorous blasphemies that hopped and floundered and wriggled out of them. As you can see, there's nothing in there about breeding, etc. Many of Lovecraft's ideas have been developed by other authors or spun out into RPGs, like Call of Cthulhu, so it's possible that the videos are drawings of such secondary work, but this person hasn't heard these stories himself. Somebody else says it sounds like it's a mix of a spider and deep ones, but I can't seem to find any information regarding the Leng spiders mating with humans, because that's what the conspiracy theory was based off. The giant mother spider you see in the cave in Zetsubo Enoshima mated with Takeo to produce these offspring. We do see in the Zetsubo Enoshima trailer, Takeo is led down to the cave by the Division 9 guards, where he is confronted by the giant spider. We don't know what happened to him next. Normally you would think, okay, he was just fed into the spider, it ate him. Not once did it come to my mind that the spider actually mated with Takeo, but if that's what happened in Lovecraft's lore, which is what these spiders are loosely based off, you could see where that conspiracy would arise. However, information of that even happening in any of Lovecraft's stories, I just can't seem to find anywhere. As this person on Reddit who seems to know a lot about it says, H.P. Lovecraft himself barely wrote anything about the Leng spiders, never mind how they breeded. There are a couple of other things I want to point out. One, if you pack-a-punch the MX Grand, which I'm pretty sure wasn't that weapon specific or first introduced as Zetsubo Enoshima, I can't remember exactly, but the pack-a-punch name of that gun is Leng's Ping Beast. Now, of course, because Leng is a place, as we've discussed, that doesn't mean it necessarily relates to the spiders. It could be to do with the men of Leng, but there's a chance Treyarch got inspiration from the spiders of Leng for the name of this gun. And another interesting thing to note that I brought up was the effects of their venom, and how anyone affected with it will start to see hallucinations. In Zetsubo Enoshima, there are quite a few Easter eggs that involve hallucination. You go into areas, they look normal, and then a second later, it is totally changed. There is blood everywhere, things are trashed. Our premise characters, Takeo, Nikolai, Dempsey, and Richtofen, in Zetsubo, hallucinate a lot. We know that's related to the spores, but could that also in some way be involved with the venom of the spiders? Because another thing we see on the trailer is different instances of Takeo having killed Richtofen, Nikolai and Dempsey. There is one scene where they are laying in front of him on the floor. He's got his sword next to him, so we can assume he's killed them. Stuff like this we also see in the Gored Kurovi trailer, instances of our characters dying. We know because they're in a cycle, they've died thousands of times, and every time they do, the cycle just resets. So this happened, but we don't know Why? Is it possible that Takeo started hallucinating, saw things that weren't there, and these hallucinations led him to accidentally killing Richtofen, Nikolai, and Dempsey? Just reading more on the effects of the leng spider's venom. Besides from it causing your flesh to blister and rot away, it also causes the mind to experience vivid and hurried hallucinations, and these visions cause you to react in an unpredictable manner as if confused. That could explain why Takeo killed Richtofen, Nikolai, and Dempsey. He was hallucinating, acted unpredictable, and killed them. Either way, it didn't really matter because the cycle reset, but nonetheless it's interesting. And also, in the game files, the spiders are actually called spiders from Mars. Weird, right? But getting back to the main topic, there are a few questions here then. 1. Did Division 9 create the spiders? We don't know. All we're told is they experimented with them. They could have existed here before Division 9 got to this island. Was Takeo given to the mother spider so she could mate with him to produce the smaller spiders, which in Lovecraft lore, the big spider is Atlaknaka and the smaller ones are the leng spiders? These aren't the only references to Lovecraft on the map, by the way. There's quite a few. The big one being, if you look outside of the map on round 50, you can actually see some alien-like tentacle creature walking across the map. A lot of people believe this to be Cthulhu himself. Why in the coding were they called spiders from Mars? There has to be something behind that, just like how the mountains in Shangri-La in the coding also referenced Mars, and we know in that case Shangri-La did take place on Mars during the eclipse, but not whilst it was normal. And Treyarch knew we'd look in the coding, so you've got to bear that in mind as well. But the main conspiracy is, was Takeo assaulted by the spider? Well, considering I personally can't find anything to do with that in Lovecraft's books or anything that came after from third parties, I honestly don't know where that information is from. But yeah, it's definitely maybe even the most insane conspiracy theory I've ever seen. You've seen the tweets saying it's canon to the story. I personally can't find any information about that, so I'm still going to leave it as a theory. But if anyone does know more, please post it in the comment section below. So there we have it, the Zetsubenoshima conspiracy theory. Let me know your thoughts. As always, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Don't forget to just click that subscribe button if you haven't already. I really appreciate it. But thank you guys for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.